Well, good morning and thank you very much for joining us. Hope you've had a fantastic weekend. And here we are on Monday, ready to take on the week. And I suppose one of the most important political stories was the breaking on Friday of the news that Mr. President had repeated his intervention. And we now are talking about River State politics here. It met with the, with the governor, the suspended governor. He's 3 months into his suspension. And Honorable Wike, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, long and short of the whole story is that now there's a truce between Fubara, Wike, and the State Assembly. Good news, because now we can get on with the business of governance. But there are those who are still looking at it as it's a situation that calls for mixed feelings. I don't know what you think, but we'll talk about it this morning, and maybe you'll phone in your view on the whole matter. But I have with me here Chief Jerry Chukwueke, political affairs analyst, former chief technical advisor to the Imo State governor and APC chieftain. Jerry, a fine morning to you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Fulani, let me just do some quick domestic housekeeping.
Okay.
I'm primarily a private sector person.
You're a businessman. And
I'm a businessman. So, founding chairman of Jermaine, founding director of Food Concepts, we're Chicken Republic and free-range farms people. I'm in real estate, oil and gas, but I have great passion for public service.
Okay.
And so I did serve my governor in Imo and Imo State government as chief technical advisor in his first term, as we looked at some key projects he's executing today. Okay. So I thought it was important to make that clear.
It's useful, thank you, especially for people who are wondering.
Yes.
That sort of is helpful.
Thank you, thank you.
So now, do you have mixed feelings? Since we're using that expression, mixed feelings, over Wike, Fubara, and Assembly truce, do you have any mixed feelings about it?
Let me just say this right off the bat. On this program and several other programs, when the issue of the emergency rule in Rivers State was put in place by Mr. President, I was very clear in terms of my own thoughts and analysis that it was a reset, that Mr. President was pursuing what he saw was an existential threat to the strategic interest of Nigeria in the Niger Delta, and required everybody to take a deep breath, calm down, get on with conversations that will quieten things, and then get back on to democracy in Rivers State. The man is a Democrat. So anybody who thought then that it was unconstitutional, he was overreaching, he was authoritarian, now they can see that it was indeed a reset opportunity. And we thank the former governor of Rivers State and now honorable minister in Abuja, former governor Nyesom Wike, and also for the current governor on suspension, Mr. Fubara. And the House of Assembly, and all the key people in Rivers State who played an important role in the quiet conversations that were essentially, until just a few days ago, off radar, to bring us back to this situation where our people at Rivers State now have the opportunity to resume the business of enjoying democracy as they voted for. Indeed. So it's great news.
It is great news. And in fact, it was a tenuous situation because it got to a stage where the governor, talking about Sim Fubara now, was almost frustrated, and he was saying things like, wait a minute, do you guys even think that I want to go back there? You know, you could see that, well, that was at the height of the intensity of things that were going on. But common sense prevailed, and shall I say, the love and the interest of the people of Rivers State prevailed. Because when you look at it, there had been some commentary that, you know, people are saying Mr. President was being unconstitutional. Well, the one thing that he has been is bold to take on, to execute the action that he did. In fact, it has been commented that Mr. President actually saved the day, considering the way the whole milieu was working. what if those people, the assembling people, had impeached him?
Exactly.
What if they had impeached him the way things were going?
Exactly. And you can see the point. In fact, Mr. President's second name is boldness and courage. We saw this play out. And when you look at his policies, it's all about boldness and courage. And the vision, he gets there before most people get to know what's going on, and he acts on them. And there'll be doubters going in. But you start to see the effects of what he's talking about. And we can go on and on. Whether you're now talking about crude oil production that is ramped up, particularly now with local actors, local companies purchasing assets that were not necessarily producing optimally. Now they are gearing them up, and our production is rising by day. I was reading a report just a few days ago about 100 billion in credit guarantees, so farmers can start to get support because we need food security. We're talking, look at the 2,000 tractors that just hit the platforms for farmers. Look at the strong efforts now in managing this security challenge we face. From governors in their forum meeting just a few days ago in Benin, you could see them emphasizing the importance now of community policing on their side, and the federal government coming from the side of forest guards and coming together to try to deal with this challenge of insecurity. And you can go on and on. It's all bold steps, vision, courage. And let's be clear, the man is doing well. And we keep asking those who have issues, particularly the opposition, and I've made this point over and over again. Can they please quit, just drop their ambition and focus on the vision for Nigeria? Because that's what's going to bring them to where they want to be. This president and this government is not perfect. We're just reading a World Bank report saying that poverty is growing. And a lot of it is because of the insecurity, farmers not being there, producing optimally, even though the numbers for this harvest show a significant improvement. But having said that, I think that a bold step in ensuring that states got more revenue puts more pressure on governors. Get the funding to local governments. Empower small and mid-sized businesses. Allow the money flow. Encourage local production, processing. Encourage jobs by targeting youth and dealing with unemployment. Do more infrastructure. Let's get on with the business of governance, because it can all be done from Abuja. I think there's more pressure now for governors to perform more. And this is what we're asking them to do. Many of them are doing so, but more work needs to be done.
Indeed, but at least it was gratifying to hear Nyesom Wike say that, look, matters, the issues are over now. We have agreed to work with the governor has agreed to work with us, and in fact, people have gotten so optimistic that they're speculating that it might well suit Mr. President in his wisdom to cut short the 6-month suspension, because it doesn't have to be for 6 months. It's just that in the first instance, it could go as long as 6 months.
Exactly. And I believe that's where the thing is going to end. I think Mr. President is on the verge of restoring democracy in Rivers State. And by the way, let's not lose sight of the new opportunity we have with the new tax bill that has been signed by Mr. President. How that brings more revenue from a viewpoint of expanding the tax net, so more revenues accrue to the center and the states. We just need more work done at the subnationals, because this poverty level, we can't let it keep rising. We need to fight this poverty as an existential threat. And it does have a major impact on security. You cannot fight security and have reasonable security in poverty and unemployment. It just doesn't happen. So I think work needs to be done. And I'm sure Mr. President knows his plate is full. He's got more work to do, and putting pressure on the subnationals to keep pushing forward. But the one thing, in my view, that is gratifying, there's no doubt as to who is in charge. Mr. President is in charge.
Mr. President is in charge.
I have no doubt. And you can see that play out.
Indeed. Now, also, who's in charge in Rivers?
Well, guess what? We're going to see democracy in charge now, because that's where we're going. And that's what we always wanted.
Okay.
Democracy in charge.
Democracy in charge.
That's
now,
it.
It was a sort of a delicate question. I'm sure you caught that.
Yes.
Because when we have difficult situations like this and people come together to negotiate their way out of it, oftentimes the very essence of negotiation is that something will be given up here, something will be given up there, something will be gained here, something will be gained there.
Absolutely.
And well, there are those. Should we really be thinking in terms of losers and winners?
No, Rivers State won.
Rivers State won.
This is the point. And I think all along that's what Mr. President was working on, and also with the support of many governors, particularly the APC Governors Forum, led by my governor in Imo State. They've worked hard on this. So Rivers won. What we want from the man who championed democracy, Mr. President himself, was the restoration of democracy in Rivers State. But it was important to take that deep breath and people calm down and focus on their strategic national interest, and it required compromises on both sides. So it's all leadership around the table. And we got it sorted out. So congratulations to all of them.
Indeed. In the midst of all of the, first of all, Mr. Wike, Nyesom Wike, and the governor in Rivers State, they're both PDP. Now, PDP is in the middle of its own, shall I say, difficult situation. So all of that is ongoing. And then these two gentlemen from that party working, well, one of them at least, working with the federal authorities,
supporting the president.
Supporting the president.
And the APC government, yes.
And the APC government.
Yes.
They still manage to, and you will realize, you remember that Mr. President has been on record as publicly inviting, all but publicly inviting Wike to join the party. By which I mean, he has said that Wike is not a member of our party. But the very moment he so decides to amend that situation and become a member, we shall receive him with open arms. Yes,
but Mr. President plays that card very well as well, because he's friends with my friend, the governor of Enugu State, Pitamba. He's friends with my friend, the governor of Abia State. He's friends with Professor Soludo, governor of it. You can go there. He plays it across the board. He's looking for performers. Where there's a performer, he associates strongly. So having said that, in the case of former Governor Wike, I mean, all you have to do is look at the work he's doing in the Federal Capital Territory.
That's right. It speaks for itself.
There's no perfection in man.
Yes.
But what you got to look at is to say, overall, where are we? I think he's done a great job.
He's pretty close. He's pretty close to perfection. There's no perfection.
So where we find shortcomings, let's cut him a slack too. The man is working.
And the same goes for Governor Fubara.
Absolutely. So this is the point. And that's why we're really happy for all of them and Nigeria and the people of Rivers State. It was courageous too, because they saw the courage of Mr. President and his determination to restore democracy. I believe it won't be 6 months. I think he's going to sort this in short order, and we can restore democracy. And Nigerians will be happy for it. And the soothsayers will now kind of calm down a bit and give the man a chance to do the work. Indeed. And having said that, you made the point about what's happening at PDP.
Yes.
And these two governors, both former Governor Wike and Governor Fubara being from the PDP. I continue to take the position that Nigeria needs a viable opposition. We need it badly from the opposition party. The key opposition party is the PDP, at least as of today.
That's right.
And the essence of it is to help hold the governing party and this government's feet to the fire and come up with constructive criticism, alternative viewpoints. What would you do differently? The system needs that. And their absence, just a no-show so far. And we have gone 2 years, practically speaking, talking about re-election now. It's a deficit for Nigeria.
And
they need, in the interest of our country, to come together enough to present a platform of a viable opposition, because it will be good for government.
And you know, that's
so
the
the policies are better, and so long as it's constructive criticism.
And the point that you make is the point that Mr. President has made in his own words. You know, he had his own word. He said, forget about any idea of a one-party system or one-party state. Whereas, you know, it's not my business to, you know, start helping you fix your own, you know, in the internal affairs of your own mansion. And I can't really say that I'm unhappy that you guys are not doing a particularly good job. But perish the thoughts that we are looking for a situation where there will be no opposition.
Absolutely, because now that's putting more pressure on the National Assembly to help checkmate what's going on. You've seen the efforts of the Senate, the National Assembly, in focusing on what happened at NNPC. You saw what Mr. President did courageously. Once he became dissatisfied, you know, largely so, over the affairs and the goings-on, he made big changes. And now the National Assembly is doing a deep dive. And you see that also going on in other aspects of governance.
Even the ruling party.
That's the point I'm making.
The ruling party itself.
Only just yesterday, you see
talk about deep dives.
Exactly.
You know,
you've seen the report about the departure of our national chairman. Reading this morning, and all I can say is there remain speculations and allegations, but you could see clearly, if that report is something we can go by, that Mr. President took a firm and courageous step and said, no, I want transparency in primaries. I don't want corruption. If I smell it, if it looks like it, if it feels like it, it jumps like it, it is, and I'm going to act on it. And that's what we want. We want a cleaner and cleaner system, so people have a chance.
Indeed.
That's the point.
Now, so kudos to Mr. President, kudos to Governor Fubara, kudos to, you know, Minister Wike for the way, first of all, Mr. President has brokered this whole thing, and the way the main, I don't want to call them combatants, you know, the main figures in River State have both come out and have spoken. So we have, but there is a question, and I don't know what you think. People observe that Governor Fubara was in there on his own lonesome. And they would have thought that, was this not doing some sort of scribbling about him being in a weak position if any of the other people from his own side were not there? Now, I don't know that it matters, but what do you think?
I think people may be reading too much into that. When Mr. President steps in, you want the key gladiators. And these conversations and political solutions are achieved more quietly in ways that don't generate a lot of noise. Well, the noise just don't achieve much, you know.
You know, you're very right, because
so this is the point.
A lot of this, a lot of the is it horse trading? No, I don't think that's the most apt expression. But a lot of the negotiations
and the compromises
were going on, you know, silently.
Absolutely, and
people
that's how
just
you
didn't
get solutions.
know. Yes,
that's how you get solutions.
Closed door in the first
Absolutely,
instance,
absolutely,
and then still going on silently.
And everybody focuses on what is in the national interest of Nigeria and of particular interest to people of River State. And so it required the sort of compromise and compromises we've seen. So it's a great thing. You
know, it's 3 months now when governance has been in a bit in abeyance in Port Harcourt. But do you, so it's now a matter about Governor Fubara is going to have to start rebuilding, because everything, I don't know if, you know, like they say with power sector, you switch off, you can't just switch on again. You know, systems, engineering, and all of that. Is it something like that? Are we going to need a period of starting up the whole engine of governance again, and then it getting to speed for it to be effective, and then in very short order for the people to begin to see dividends of governance?
Well, the good news about that point you made is that the House of Assembly and its leadership were part of that solution.
Yes.
because now he can go to them, fast-track decision-making, and get back on the ground running. I think it can happen quite quickly, and the Rivers people expect that that will be the case. So my view is it won't take much of any time. I think we can get on with what we need to do in Rivers State. And I think Governor Fubara is up to it. And he has the support, more so now with the support of former Governor Wike. I think things will roll quite quickly. I'm confident about that.
Indeed, now that all the players are on the same side. Okay, let me. I said that at the top of the program that Chief Jerry Chukwueke wouldn't be the only guest. There's also Chief Tony Daniel. He's a lawyer and a political affairs analyst. A fine morning to you, Chief Daniel.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Well, yes. Yes, but I'm sure my people can help me a bit. But I just did hear you respond to my greeting. Thank you very much for making the time to come on. People talk about mixed feelings. And by the way, in studio here, I have Chief Jerry Chukwueke, political affairs analyst and former chief technical advisor to the Imo State governor. So we've been rolling from the top of the program. So thank you very much for joining at this stage. What do you think about the whole notion of mixed feelings over Fubara, Wike, and the assembly truce? Mixed feelings or only one feeling? This is progress. We're coming out of it now. Wike has spoken, Governor Fubara has spoken, the assembly people were all part of it. What mixed feelings are we talking about again? How do you see it?
Well, my brother, you can confirm that I've said it severally at your station, that the solution to this issue is political. I've always said so. And then I'm happy that it has come to pass. I want to give it to the president. He could have as well extended the emergency period. Constitutionally, you have the right to do
that. Yet.
But he decided to broker an amicable and political resolution to the issue. And I must commend Fubara too. I wouldn't support any negative narratives against the decision of Fubara. He had turned out to be an hero because the sacrifices he made are uncommon. The compromises he must have reached are in the interest of Rivers State. And then if we see the State House of Assembly, that is the legislature, and the executive cooperate, even though they are supposed to, the legislature is supposed to check the executive, but they need to cooperate in the interest of the state.
Indeed.
I think majority are happy about this. Majority are very happy about this. And then this will make the elders in Rivers.
What happened? What? Okay. Chief Tony Daniel speaking there, and then there was a drop in the network. But Chief Jerry is in studio here. Yes, he's saying those things. As soon as we can get him back again, we'll look into them. How challenging do you think it's going to be to get governance up and you were on the theme of, look, all the parties were involved.
Correct.
The assembly was
Correct.
involved. Wike is there.
Correct.
So everybody is now on the same page.
And they will fast track. They will fast track return to democracy and policy implementation.
Okay.
Because they're all on board now.
Because we can believe them this time.
Absolutely. I have no doubt. Everybody now understands the importance of what needs to be done. I mean, just look what the president has done in the last few days. Moving around different states, commissioning big projects that many governors have delivered because of the opportunity of the funding now that is kind of tripled.
Yes.
And how the monies are flowing,
yes.
right? So Rivers State is going to come on board too. We want to see Mr. President soon be able to get out to Rivers State and also commission projects. So Fubara has got work to do. Let's get on with it.
Indeed, he has. And I don't know. He knows what to do.
Yes.
I was going to say that he knows what to do. I don't think anybody has any doubt about that. He's in very good company.
And without any further distractions.
Yes.
So his total focus now
that's the best thing.
will be to get on with this thing.
Indeed.
And fast track the things that he needs to. I think he will do well getting that done.
And it was Chief Daniel who was talking about an area that the president hasn't spoken on. That is to say, he's hoping that we can return to full-blown democracy in Rivers State. Yes, everybody, I imagine, is thinking like that.
Yes.
But the president hasn't spoken on it.
No, but I think that will be the next natural step.
Yes.
And it won't take long. My view is it won't be the additional 3 months.
You think so?
No.
Because there are those who are, saying that, speculating that perhaps we need to go all the way, so that people can keep on doing the groundwork that is necessary, cleaning up metaphorically, You don't think so?
Not necessarily. Remember, if I understand that the provision of the law in that regard, it's up to 6 months.
Up to 6 months.
It doesn't have to be 6 months.
It doesn't have to be.
So if you get the key players together on the same platform, right? And right now that truce has, it's in place, then Governor Fubara, between now and when Mr. President essentially now cancels the suspension order, I'm sure as we speak, he's readying himself and his team for what work they need to do. And this time, totally focused. Not fighting with anybody, not defocused. I think they will do it. And Rivers needs it, Nigeria needs it.
So things are looking up for Rivers State.
Yes, indeed.
And it's a matter,
yes, indeed.
We just, so let's take a break now. We'll be right back to continue with this conversation. Chief Tony Daniel and Chief Jerry Chukwueke. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back.
Good morning, Marina Station and all the passengers. Efficient, it's comfortable.
This development will go a long way in reducing congestion and emission.
The trains are a long-term solution to Lagos traffic challenges.
This is where we take the final, decisions on policies, programs of government. I will have to ensure that, the narration of Lagos as a PLC is taken very, very seriously.
This is a major pedestrian bridge linking Oyinbo here to Apapa Road over there.
With this overpass, we are providing what we call a permanent solution.
This place is one of the most dangerous areas at the biosecurity environment.
This can go into the news and every crumbs of your neighborhood.
Our goal is to remain as Africa's model megacity, to move our GDP from the 5-6 position to the 3rd position, and we believe it's achievable with all the commitments we have.
Explore the city of Lagos, where dreams are made and possibilities are endless. Amadedoja Salamadini, I live in Lagos, inside Lagos.
Okay, indeed, welcome back. We still have with us Chief Jerry Chukwueke. And all other things being equal, we should also have Chief Tony Daniel. He was speaking with us, but you never can tell. The network can drop, from time to time. So here we are. I think it's good news, generally speaking. Rivers State is on the cusp of, the suspension on its governor and its State House of Assembly being lifted, even though the president hasn't said anything about that. But we're just being logical here. I mean, if they've both agreed and it's midway, this is like, we're talking about the president's midterm. We're talking about the suspension's midterm as well, So I don't know. You could call in and let's know. We have Reverend. Good morning, Reverend Dominic. Reverend Dominic, good morning to you.
Good morning. Can you hear me, Chief
Yes,
Jerry?
yes, we can.
Good morning to your guest, Chief Jerry, my
Yes.
brother from Imo State.
Yes, okay, he can hear you.
Let me differ from you and Chief Jerry this morning.
Okay.
You understand that the bane of challenge in Nigeria of our system is a reward system. We reward bad behavior when with this on the hand, and we reward good behavior by looking away. I listened to Fubara 2 days ago when he was saying that people who is quarreling with Wike, do they know he helped him to become a governor? Who is he talking to? We know he helped him become a governor. Fight him. You said this morning he could have impeached. Please, impeachment is in our constitution. Do you remember a man called Brother Busa in 1992? You're a man of my age. Jerry is a man of my age, you will know. Brother Busa was impeached. Heaven did not fall. It's part of the system. I could have wished that Mr. President allowed the State Assembly to impeach Fubara, to teach him a lesson of humility. I don't want to use a bad word to him, to call him names. Fubara is not wise. He threw the whole state into this mess. He went to push down the State of Assembly, built with millions of dollars. One of the best State of Assembly in Nigeria. You are in Google it. After Lagos was Lagos State, digital. This man went to push it down.
Okay, I hear you, Reverend.
So let me just comment on that.
Sure.
Reverend's viewpoint, I've heard several other people express such. But listen, the question remains, what is in the best interest of the people of Rivers State and the strategic interest of Nigeria, given the economic hub that Rivers State is? Now, I'm not so sure now that where we are is the blame game. We have passed that. What we needed to have is the political solution that is now being found. And it would clearly would have required significant compromises from both sides of the aisle.
That's right, that's right.
In the interest of peace. I listened to Governor Fubara a few days ago, and he was saying, listen, I'm focused on what is in the best interest of Rivers State. That's the spirit. So I would like for us to kind of leave behind the acrimony and the blame game and just focus on the future.
Indeed.
Let's focus on the future.
Indeed. So very well said, Jerry. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yuri. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning to the guests.
Yes.
Uncle Yuri, the news is heartwarming as far as I can see it. I hope the governor has learned his lessons. Some bad people, let me describe them like that, capitalized on his inexperience to mislead him. And he has learned his lesson now, I suppose. Uncle Yuri, you see, Wike, if you study him, you discover that Wike is another Tinubu in the making. He believes in principles, in politics, and he believes in, he has a song, agreement is agreement. He means it if you follow what he does. The agreement they had, it was the Joe leaders there who misled the governor, and the governor did not think it deep. People who did not know how he emerged were the ones who now came out to say, you don't know our man, be yourself. Forget about this man, and let us, it's our turn. So I hope he has learned how to manage such people now and be himself. I learned that the agreement they had, I don't know how true it is that he will run a one term. I can tell you, Uncle Yuri, if Fubara behaves well, Wike will still support him for his content. Let him just learn the lesson and do better. I wish he would listen to this program. Let him do away with those people who claim to be his kinsmen. They are his enemies, if he doesn't know. By now, he should know that Wike is his brother. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much for calling in. But, Jerry, as you were saying, we seem to have passed those stages now.
This is the point.
You know.
And I think what is...
I mean, we're looking to turn over a fresh page.
Exactly. But let me just comment on one of the points he made about the speculation on the deal of a one-term for Governor Fubara. I know Mr. President is a Democrat, and former Governor Wike has a heart of gold when it comes to forgiveness and carrying on. So my view is it's not cast in stone, assuming that that is part of the deal. I think what now happens is, let's see how Governor Fubara will run with this, quickly go on a fast track and try to recover grounds, whatever grounds might have been lost in the last three months, and get on with it. And I think how he finishes his first term will tell the rest of the story. That is my view.
Indeed, Jerry, and I again, it's so very well put, because it's like, I don't know how, well, it was a closed-door meeting. We didn't hear, there weren't any leakages.
Several meetings, not one.
You're right.
There are many conversations.
Yes. And many travels were involved too, if you remember.
Indeed.
Both international and local.
Indeed.
You know, so, but, you know, maybe it's an idealistic position. We want to sort of, for the sake of, you know, progress, forget everything that happened before, when Wike was angry, Fubara was angry, but now with the latest pictures of those gentlemen, they are speaking, they're quite civil towards each other.
Correct.
So it's only...
So way forward.
Yes, it's a way forward.
I think Governor Fubara and his team must now, you know, get repopulated, focused, and just identify key priority projects and simply stand by. And as soon as Mr. President says it's a go, they can get on with it. So that is the point, and I think it's so critical.
Okay. Okay. Let's just play Governor, well, not Governor, Minister Wike's a clip of him at this stage.
I agreed to work together with the governor, and the governor also agreed to work together with all of us who are members of the same political family. Yes, just like humans, you have a disagreement, and then you also have a time to also settle your disagreement, and that has been finally concluded today, and we have come to report to Mr. President that is what we have agreed. So
very important that this day has come to be. What we need for the progress of Rivers State is peace, and by the special grace of God this night, with the help of Mr. President and the agreement of the leaders of the states, including our leader, peace has returned in Rivers State. We'll do everything within our power to make sure that we sustain it this time around.
Okay, that's quite telling. I'll do everything within my power. You know, that is Governor Fubara.
Correct.
You know, I'll do everything within my power.
Correct.
You know, to maintain this peace.
Correct.
And Wike himself saying it's all done with, it's all over.
Absolutely.
So these two guys, these two gentlemen, have created an immaculate, not just clean, an immaculate plate, template.
Correct. And all their supporters or blocks will queue in.
They have to.
That's the point.
They have to.
And you can see the strategic importance of the decision Mr. President made, because things were getting very overheated.
Indeed.
And it was getting quite dangerous. But here we go. So now we're forward looking.
So me, I don't necessarily identify with those who are seeing it in terms of a win or a loss for this or for that.
I tell you who won, the people of Rivers State and Nigeria.
You said that, and you're very, very right.
That's the point.
Saying again. And I think the gentleman must be commended for taking that particular stance, that it is Rivers State that has won, because it is Rivers State that has been without governance in terms of the full potential that's available, but because of the situation we have on our hands, they've not been able to reach those potentials. But Now, because can you imagine what would have been done in the past, 3 months or so? In fact, before 3 months,
yes.
because there was distraction.
Yes.
There was distraction and
yes.
There were loggerheads.
Yes.
Now, all of that is over. So it's like...
Indeed, and I cut in here again. When I just look back, just the last 1 month, for example, and see how many important projects being commissioned by Mr. President in respective states.
That's right.
Where governors are pumping quite a bit of money now into the
because they are
level.
Receiving
That's
more
the
funds.
point. Many have reduced their debt in terms of paying down. What we're saying is that's good, but stay focused on infrastructure, support small and medium-sized businesses. Look, we got even more opportunities now. Power supply in the concurrent list, railroads in the concurrent list. So we have opportunities to focus on the empowerment of our people economically, because that's the key to employment and reducing insecurity. Okay. So I keep saying, subnationals got work to do.
Indeed.
And many of them are doing so, including my governor.
Fidel in Owerri. Good morning to you, sir. Fidel, good morning. Fidel, you are supposed to be on right now. Fidel, calling in from...
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir. Go ahead, please.
Fidel Onyeneke is my name, and I'm calling from Owerri in Imo State.
Excellent.
I want to appreciate what is happening in Rivers State today.
Okay.
The bottom line is peace, not a matter of who is at fault and who is not at fault. And I want to say that the two key actors, that is Wike and Fubara, must now exploit this situation for the benefit of their people. Let all Rivers people come together, do all their best now that they have recovered their state once again, and do their best to ensure that they support the government in power for the progress, peace, and unity of Rivers State. Thank you, and God bless you. I'm Fidel Onyeneke.
Thank you very much, Mr. Onyeneke. Thank you very much. And that is what Chief Jerry Chukwueke has been saying in studio here, that the most important thing is peace, so that there's room for development in, Port Harcourt, in River State generally.
Correct.
And we've also, I think we've sort of spoken about the fact that, I don't know, we are not bringing in the line of conversation about this guy lost, this guy won. No.
That's behind us now.
That's exactly.
That's behind us. And let's also commend the good people of River State that they didn't allow the overheating of the system to blow out of control.
Okay.
There was sufficient restraint.
Because there were elders in there that were working at cross purposes.
Exactly.
Unfortunately.
Exactly. And so quiet diplomacy has paid off. Now we need the focus for Governor Fubara and his team to quickly reconstitute and run their priority strategy. And once Mr. President says it's a go, they jump right into the field.
Okay.
And I think they have some catch up to do, but they'll do it. I'm confident.
I think most Nigerians are rooting for them. Yes. Most Nigerians are rooting for the people of River State, that they need to, get on top of this. Good morning, Mr. Joshua in Irewolede. Good morning to you, sir.
Okay, good morning, sir.
Thank you.
Well done, and good morning to your guest,
Chief Jerry Chukwueke.
So happy listening to him. He has a good grasp of the issues. As it were, the problem is in the past, and we're all glad, very, very happy for Rivers. I think for Governor Fubara, or any governor that is in Kano or Lagos, the point to be that those are like Nigeria itself. Any governor that is in Rivers, you know, that is like a president of Nigeria. And so that's how Rivers State is. Rivers State is not just about Rivers alone, it's about Nigeria. Anything that happens to Rivers happens to the entire country. And so that is why the decision of the president was very strategic and necessary. And I will use this opportunity to speak to one issue which I would like you to further address beyond this program. That is that the There are a group of people who are determined to pull Nigeria down. They are not about opposition. They're about destroying Nigeria. Governors should be careful with such people. You know, opposition is about providing alternative views about how governance can run. If you think the government is not doing well, you say, okay, if you do it this way, it will be better. And the opposition can try it with their local government that they are controlling and get results from there. But what we have in Nigeria are people looking for the weak links, whether it's a governor or anybody, and then they throw spanner into the works of that place and use it to try to stabilize Nigeria. That's what they tried to do in Rivers. But the president was smart enough to make sure that he didn't succeed. Godfatherism, mentorship is necessary in politics, and everybody should realize that I am Nigeria well, and this program you are using it to build Nigeria. It will continue to be well with you.
Well, indeed. Thank you very much, Mr. Joshua from
and that's an interesting viewpoint, particularly with regards to people who don't mean well for Nigeria.
Exactly.
But what gives me confidence, and this is my view, is that they're dealing with a strong political leader in Mr. President.
That's right.
That's why when you look at what's going on, and I've made this point on several platforms, what we have today clearly is a man in charge. He is not subsumed by the presidency. There is no question about who is in charge, and that's who we voted for. So having said that, all of those who are working to destabilize Nigeria, and that was the point he was making, are in for a tough time, because they're dealing with a very strong cookie here. And a man who will stand his ground. He has a lot of experience.
Exactly.
He knows many of them.
He knows his onions.
He's so vested in the system in terms of experience and expertise and relationships, and he can withstand the pressure. I'm thankful to God that we don't have a weak presidency today, because that was the point he was making. Beyond River State, we would have been quaking and baking by now, shaking, quaking, wondering if this is going to hold up. But there's no doubt as to who is in charge. Governors know it, everybody knows it,
Indeed.
Including private sector people.
Indeed.
So strong leadership is important. I'm not necessarily likening it to what's going on in America today in terms of another kind of strong leadership, but there is no doubt in Nigeria as to who is in charge and who is playing it out.
And quite frankly, Nigeria is the better for it, because going back to the point at the very top of the program we made, that Mr. President probably saved Governor Fubara from, impeachment by stepping in.
Yes, but let's assume for a minute that he had allowed that to happen. That would now have overheated the system.
This is the point.
And it could have blown up. So the point to be made, and that's why when I say the game was a reset for everybody to take a deep breath and just calm down and just dimension all the things that have transpired and make the decision in the best interest of River State and Nigeria. After all, what are we talking about in River State? Which was the point he was trying to make earlier about a governor of River State being like a president. Economically, that is correct, because you have the most strategic infrastructure of Nigeria in River State, and particularly when we are largely a one-dimensional economy. So we can't play with River State. We got our ports there, our oil and gas, all the heavy infrastructure that supports the Nigerian economy. So that was the point he was making indirectly, and that's understandable. So Mr. President has had to take whatever measures necessary to protect the national strategic interest.
And didn't pay any attention
Absolutely.
to all those commentaries.
And State Farm.
State Farm.
And State Farm. And here we go now. And I believe that in short order, he will restore democracy in River State. I have no doubt in my mind about that.
There's very little more that can be said about the matter, apart from the fact that we are happy, that is Nigerians are happy,
yes,
that, you know, democracy was healed in Rivers State.
Indeed.
It was healed there.
Indeed.
Yeah, I think, who was it that I was hearing? Yeah, it was Wike who was saying that, look, there is a time for misunderstanding, disagreements, whatever you want to call it, but then there's also a time for it all to end.
Correct. And I was reading a report last night about how after that meeting, they rode in the same car together. That should tell you where we're...
In fact, on very short order,
in the same car.
We heard that Governor Fubara actually accompanied Minister Wike to a social function.
Exactly.
You know?
So let's get back to governance in Rivers State, and it's going to happen shortly.
Indeed. Well, we're going to have to leave it here, Chief Jerry Chukwueke. As I said, there's very little more that can be said, apart because it's just about the joy. Correct. That, oh, thank God, this democracy looked like it might be a casualty.
Yes, and also international investors. Remember, that is an important part of this equation. Now that we have calm, we can see where it's going. People who have been holding back in investment in oil and gas are going to also now say, hello.
Everything, they've sorted it.
This is the time to move.
Yes.
So let's hope that those foreign direct investments will come.
So there are many facets to the president's action.
Absolutely.
And all of which he probably saw ahead of time.
Absolutely.
Knowing that this is the way to go.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Chief Jerry Chukwueke. We're going to have to leave it here. Do please come back. We leave it here, but please come back tomorrow morning when we'll have a fresh program, God willing. Thanks once more.
You're welcome. I'm
Chief
happy
Jerry
to be here. Thank you.
Our pleasure. So that's our program today. Join us tomorrow, please.
Niger, it's time to rise to victory because season 10 is here.